The UN's nuclear watchdog group conceded today that its progress investigating Iran's nuclear program has hit a wall. The latest confidential report by the International Atomic Energy Agency was obtained by several news media outlets. It said the IAEA had satellite imagery showing ongoing construction activity at Parchin military base, a suspected nuclear site. It also revealed that Tehran had implemented only 3 out of 5 measures to be more transparent under a deal with the IAEA. Iran denies that it wants or is working on nuclear arms. A plane chartered by coalition forces in Afghanistan and carrying about 100 Americans had to land in Iran today after filing the wrong flight plan. The Washington Post first reported the incident. Iranian air traffic control reportedly first asked the plane to return to Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, but it didn't have enough fuel. A senior State Department official said the issue has been resolved and the plane is scheduled to resume its flight. There was new information released today on one of the deadliest friendly fire episodes of the war in Afghanistan. An investigation by the U.S. military into the June episode found communication errors led to the deaths of 5 American soldiers and 1 Afghan. The incident happened in Zabul province when a B-1 bomber crew failed to check their information properly before launching 2 laser-guided bombs, which hit the soldiers. The Pentagon confirmed the death of the leader of the African terror group Al-Shabaab today. Ahmed Abdi Godan was killed in a U.S. airstrike on Monday in Somalia. In a statement, the Defense Department said it was a major symbolic and operational loss for the terrorist organization. Flash floods and landslides sparked by torrential monsoon rains have killed at least 116 people in eastern Pakistan and Kashmir. Swollen rivers today swept away buildings and bridges and left many trapped on their own rooftops. Soldiers and emergency workers used boats and helicopters to ferry the stranded to safety. The flooding was forecast to intensify this weekend. A 3rd American aid worker infected with the Ebola virus in Liberia is now in stable condition in Nebraska. Dr. Rick Sacra arrived at a hospital in Omaha early this morning with a police escort. He had been evacuated from West Africa. The 51-year-old delivered babies at a Liberia hospital, and it is still unclear how he contracted the virus. The head of the Nebraska Center's Infectious Diseases Division said the patient is in a specially equipped biocontainment unit.
We're doing, our basic checks on him right now with getting some of our baseline laboratories, making sure that his fluid status is equilibrated, that his electrolytes are in control. We know that he's seriously ill with a virus that has a fairly high mortality rate associated with it. Like I said, we will continue to care for him with very aggressive supportive care, and we're looking into alternatives for some of our experimental therapeutics right now.
2 other American health workers who contracted the virus in Liberia were treated and cured at Emory University in Atlanta. Also today, the World Health Organization reported the death toll in West Africa from the Ebola outbreak has passed the 2,000 mark. Half of those deaths were in Liberia. Job growth slowed in August as U.S. employers hired fewer workers than analysts had expected. But stocks on Wall Street seemed undeterred by the news. The Dow Jones Industrial Average gained more than 67 points to close at 17,137. The Nasdaq rose 20 points to close above 4582. And the S&P 500 added 10 to finish at 2007. For the week, the Dow, the Nasdaq, and the S&P all rose a fraction of a percent. And in a special piece of good news, the California blue whale has bounced back from near extinction. A study done at the University of Washington found that they have recovered to number about 2,200 in the Pacific Ocean. That's about 97% of historic 19th century levels. But the largest animals on Earth are still vulnerable to being struck by large ships.